welcome to my Hi there, this is JH and welcome to my channel.
So yesterday I watched that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once with my parents, and I was like, man, that's dope. All these visual effects and editing are so awesome. Well, on the contrary, my dad fell asleep half the movie and my mom barely understood it. Living too long in a materialistic environment, it seems pretty hard for them to perceive the spiritual information behind the movie, although it's in a form of science fiction. And I'm pretty like Evelyn's daughter Joy, wishing my parents to see what I see, feel what I feel.
Time. I wasn't looking for you so I could kill you. I was just looking for someone who could see what I see. Feel what I feel.
The movie has been described as a sphere of genre anarchy, features elements of black comedy, science fiction, fantasy, martial arts, and maybe animation. I see a mass amount of nihilism, Dadaist, absurdism expression in it. Well, they all point to one thing, the meaning of life. At first, they considered Jackie Chan for the starring role, and the script was originally written for him. The plot follows a Chinese-American woman being audited by the Internal Revenue Service, who discovers that she must connect with parallel universe versions of herself to prevent a powerful being from causing the destruction of the multiverse. I tend not to reveal more of the plot. I just want to talk about my interpretation from an occult perspective, because in my opinion, comparing to the Harry Potter series and Fantastic Beasts series, this movie is closer to the rules of how magic works in our real world and the real world scenario. Except one thing I think the Fantastic Beasts got right, which is there are Chinese magicians doing magic in the eastern side of the world. Anyway, it's possible that this is just my over-interpretation, but I think that there actually are spiritual genres apply certain practice all around the world. Number 1. Astral projection and collective unconscious. When Evelyn's husband from Alpha Universe first approached her, he instructed her to meet in the utility room. Then Evelyn did her first verse jumping, and when I watched this scene, I thought, wow, this is just what we call astral projection in the occult world. So basically, astral projection is an intentional out-of-body experience, also known as astral travel. This method of separating soul and body is described in the traditional Chinese Taoist text, The Secret of the Golden Flower. The book also greatly influenced Carl Jung's psychological series. Back to the movie. Evelyn jumping back and forth through her own universe and the Alphaverse is pretty like Orcus traveling through our mundane world and different astral planes. Collective unconscious, coined by Carl Jung, in my opinion, is pretty like the multiverses that Evelyn gained abilities from. Since in the history, while many of the great philosophers appeared at almost the same period known as Axial Age, could it be the collective unconscious of humankind tries to enlighten every human being through our mind? There's a phenomenon called simultaneous invention, which means two people inventing or discovering the same thing in two different locations without any contact. Even the production of this movie itself, to some extent, is an example as such. Co-directors Daniel Scheinert and Daniel Kwan stated they began researching the concept of the multiverse in 2010. Kwan described the release of the 2018 film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which also features a multiverse concept, as a little upsetting because we were like, oh shit, everyone's going to beat us to this thing we've been working on. He also stated, watching the second season of Rick and Morty was really painful. I was like, they've already done all the ideas we thought were original. It was a really frustrating experience, so I stopped watching Rick and Morty while we were writing this project. So what's the lesson here? I believe is that if there is a god, or whatever you would like to call, as the mightiest being in the universe, his plan will be carried out anyway as time progresses, and there's no one particularly to be chosen to accomplish any particular thing. And if you do not do it, the universe will send someone else to do it anyway. Therefore, we all need to cherish time and seize opportunity. 2. Chaos Magic and Enlightenment. In order to make a successful verse jumping, they have to perform an action that they would least normally do, so they can enter an unstable state of mind. This unstable state is what Chaos Magic regards as an altered state of consciousness. In Chaos Magic, we create a sigil while experiencing the emotion beforehand, as if the result has been accomplished, and then fire the sigil into the abyss of chaos, while our mind is in this altered state of consciousness. In addition to Chaos Magic, This kind of physical asceticism, in order to enter the gnosis, is not uncommon in the spiritual practice of monks throughout both the East and the West. From simply chanting mantras over and over again to self-flagellation or mortification of the flesh, in the human history, there were so many different attempts to reach the so-called Zen state. By the way, the pose of the movie reminds me of the art of Tibetunga or Indian Mandala. Furthermore, in chaos magic, a belief whether it is real or not can be used as magical tools, so the belief system of a Begon, which contains everything in it that Evelyn's daughter Joy invented, is pretty chaos magic. Chaos practitioners perceive every belief limited, so they just pick up whatever works. Even Hello Kitty can be used as magical archetype or sigil. The plastic eyes stick onto the character's foreheads are in the style of chaos magic as well, if the plastic eye represents the third eye. In ancient Egypt, the pineal gland was known as the seat of the spirit or the soul. They used the third eye as a route to higher awareness or consciousness. The Buddhists related to spiritual awakening, the Hindus connected to the third eye, which represents intuition and clairvoyance. And then what? What would one see after enlightenment? Well, I think no one can truly demonstrate that. Let me get a little sense through the trippy trance visual effect of the film. 3. Towards the World and Selima.
Right is a tiny box invented by people who are afraid. And I know what it feels like to be trapped inside that box.
As Joy says, right is a tiny box invented by people, therefore every belief is limited. This statement is exactly what I mentioned earlier in chaos magic. Then we have Evelyn shows us the value of I am that I am, no matter what you think of me. Oh god, if Chloe was here, I bet he would be so glad to see a film as such. Doesn't all of that line sound familiar, especially for Telema practitioners? Aleister Crowley, an occultist, ceremonial magician, poet, painter, novelist, and mountaineer, had great influence on modern occultism, including creating the famous Soul's Tarot. He also greatly influenced musicians like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, and more, as being on the album covers and praised in lyrics. Telema, as the most important ingredient in his life, has 3 core aspects. Do what the world shall be the whole of the law. Every man and every woman is a star. Love is the law. Love and will. I could make a whole video talk about this controversial man and his thoughts. I do reckon this movie has expressed the law of Telema to some extent. I remember on the website of Gallery of Magic, they once made an analogy. If your neighbor always party or play loud music at night, rather than doing black magic to curse, you can instead do white magic to help him get a job working in the morning, so that he will then change his body clock and be quiet at night. In the ending of this movie, this kind of white magic is exactly what Evelyn does when fighting. She fights not to hurt, but to bless. That, in my mind, is a really high level of using magic. I know maybe screenwriter and director may have never accessed magic, but they have told the fabulous truths of occult and philosophy. And at last, I just want to say, magic is not what you do, but it is what you are.